Hello, my name is Natalia Morales, and today I will be interviewing Miss Carol Burrell. Hello, Miss Carol.
Hi, Natalia.
When were you born?
When was I born? I was born May 27, 1947 in Harvey, Illinois. That's a suburb south of Chicago, pretty much directly south.
If not, where do you come from?
Well, I was born in Harvey, and I moved down here in 2000 with my husband. So we're both from Illinois. We met at work and then got married and decided to move to Florida. Don was really looking to retire, so we came down here for the warmer weather to get away from that snow and ice and the real cold weather.
So, what was your favorite food?
What was my favorite food? Well, I'd say I like chocolate, I like sweets. That isn't good, but that's it.
How was your childhood? How was your childhood like? Did you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I have one brother and 3 sisters. And I would say, thinking today versus then, it was probably a much simpler time. We would play in the neighborhood, a lot of kids in our neighborhood, and we would just play games and baseball and different things, go bike riding. Fun time when we all got together.
How was school like way back when?
Way back when. School, I went to a Catholic grade school, and that was, well, strict, very structured as you could imagine, but I think the education was very nice. One thing that was interesting, when we were in 7th and 8th grade, we had dancing classes, and I think that was very progressive for way back when, to have dancing classes. And we had recitals and programs at Christmas time or in the spring, and that was very nice.
What kind of games did you play when you were a kid?
Well, we played a lot of board games, Monopoly. There was a Keno game that was something like a bingo. Card games. And just a lot of different board games. Scrabble.
Who was the president you voted for when you were first able to vote?
Well, I think, it was 1968, and Richard Nixon ran that year, and if it was Hubert Humphrey, then I voted for Humphrey. I didn't vote for Nixon.
How did you feel when the first television came out?
Excited. Our neighbor next door, they were the first ones on the block to get a television. It was small. It was a small screen, a small console, but we got to watch it a few times. And then we got our own, and I really don't remember what year that was. Probably the early 50s. And there weren't that many choices. We watched Roy Rogers on Saturday morning. There was a program called Ding Dong School with Miss Francis, and we watched that. That was probably a precursor to Sesame Street and those kinds of programs, but I remember that one being a nice program.
What was your job in the military?
In the military, well, when I signed on, I was a yeoman, and a yeoman is somebody who works in an office, does administrative work, typing, takes care of paperwork. There were only 3 jobs available to women in the reserve when I joined. Yeoman, storekeeper, which had to do with pay, finance, ordering supplies, and hospital corpsman. So I was a yeoman, and then after, I don't know, maybe 8 years or so, they opened up more jobs for women, and so I decided to transfer or lateral over to a job called port security, because most of the guys in our unit were port security people. They were firemen and policemen in their civilian jobs, and I transferred to that job so that I could go out and board ships in the Port of Chicago or the Port of Indiana, and we would go to different facilities where they were transferring product, oil, and different chemicals and things. And that was a lot more interesting than just working in the office.
What obstacles did you face while you were doing your job in the military?
Well, I don't know that I faced any obstacles. I know when I would go on my active duty every year for 2 weeks, I always was very excited to come back and thought about enlisting full time. But an obstacle, I think, would be the fact that maybe the pay wouldn't have been as much, and I just didn't want to take that risk. Now it seems silly, and I wish I had done that, but I ended up having 20 years in the reserves anyway, so I get a retirement now.
What is your favorite cooking recipe or one passed down by your family?
Well, I like chili. My husband made chili for us, so I try to follow his recipe. And then when I make some chili, I give it to some friends and neighbors and just say, here's Don's chili. And they seem to like it.
How was it like when you went to Washington? What did you see, and what was your favorite monument?
Well, we were in Washington just for a week, as you know, and saw a lot of the memorials, went to Mount Vernon, the National Cathedral, but I think my favorite was the Basilica of the Immaculate Conception. I think that was very beautiful, and we went for Mass on Sunday, and I really enjoyed that. Of the memorials, I would say I like the Lincoln Memorial the best. I just think he was our greatest president.
Can you show us some of your past items or pictures?
Okay. All right, well, let's see. I'll start. When I was in the Coast Guard, my last job was as Chief Petty Officer, and this is my hat, my cover, as they call it. And then here's a mug. This is the insignia for Chief Petty Officer. Here's the Coast Guard insignia. Okay. Here's something. This is a candy box, and the Queen Mary is on the cover. My mother and my sister and I, there were only the two of us at the time, Mom took us to England. Mom is from England. She was a war bride. And she took us to England on the Queen Mary. And I remember little bits of that. We were playing in a nursery there, and there was a special luncheon for children, and it was very nice. So I just have a few memories. So anyway, that was a long time ago, 1953. And actually that was the year of the coronation of Queen Elizabeth. Let's see, this is my husband, Don. Unfortunately, he passed away in September of 2005. But we had a great life together, and I miss him very much. And I think about him every day. Okay, this is a photograph. We went on a cruise. And this is a photo of us on that cruise. We had a lot of fun. We moved down here in 2000, and we met at work originally. And when we moved down here, they had a luncheon for me, and a friend of mine gave me this snow globe. This is of Chicago landmarks in a place, Chicago, that toddling town. Let's see. Right now, I'm retired, and I do a lot of volunteer work for the American Cancer Society. They have a program called Road to Recovery, and it's people who drive. They take patients to their appointments. And they gave me an award for doing that. I got this award last September. It's called the Hope Award, and it was for coordinating that. And if there were problems, I just tried to work them out myself instead of calling someone at the office. So anyway, they gave me this award, and I was very proud to receive it. It's some of the lighthouses I have in my collection. They're from all over the United States, and my mother even sent me some from France and Japan and England. Danbury Mint had a collection, and so she would send me those for birthdays or Christmas.
Thank you, Miss Carol, for helping me with my oral report.
Well, it was my pleasure. Thank you for asking me. I feel very honored that you've done this and that I can share this information with you and with your classmates. Okay.